He's one of the biggest stars in college basketball, and you can refer to him by one name only, Jelly. UAB superstar Jordan Jelly Walker is our guest today. I'm Mat Mlodzinski, and welcome to CBB Review Courtside. It's season 3, episode 21. And now Jordan Jelly Walker joins us into CBB Review Courtside. First off, how you doing tonight, bro?
I'm doing all right, bro.
Awesome. That's good to hear. I got to start with this. I'm sure you've told this story plenty of times, but when and how did Jelly Fam start? Like, when did that come about?
Started with Isaiah Washington and Jacque James. They was the ones who started it. Basically, like jelly is just like a fancy like layup. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like a finger roll, but we call it jelly now. And they the ones who started it, and they kept putting people down, kept putting people down. And eventually, like they put me down, and the rest is history.
So, I mean, did you have to go through like a little bit of initiation or anything? Like, how'd that come about?
I was playing against Leandre Washington at Hoop Group at the Future All American camp, and that's when I really like. I've been playing against all of them my whole life, but that's when like they were like, nah, like we really need to put in Jellyfin.
That's awesome. And I guess, I mean, you kind of explained it there, but like, who came up with the name Jelly? I mean, obviously, like, it makes some sense, but whose idea was it?
Isaiah's and Jacque James, they're
That's
the ones who came up. Yeah,
That's good stuff. And obviously, I mean, that you go by Jelly, obviously, Jordan Jelly Walker. So, I mean, that's stuck with the name. People know who you are.
yeah,
Why do you kind of choose to make that your identity, though? I mean, I know that that's not all you do. You have a lot to your offensive game, but I mean,
yeah.
at the same time, right?
I mean, that's what everybody calls us. Like even like Javon Quinley in Alabama, like they call him Jelly over there, or like Isaiah Washington when he was at Minnesota, they call him Jelly. Or like Leandre Washington when he was at McNeese and when he went to his school, the NIA school. Um, like they was calling him like Jelly. They just call it. Everybody calls us Jelly because we're part of Jelly fam. You know what I'm saying? Like when we get around each other, we call each other our names, but everyone calls us Jelly, so it just stuck. I mean, just it just stuck.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, we'll move past this topic in a sec, but I mean, I have to ask you the obvious question though. Who's the real Jelly? Are you the best Jelly? I mean, we don't need any, big
I'll
discussions
never,
here, but
I'll never answer that question, bro.
I see.
Never.
That's why I love it though, because you guys are Jelly fam, right? After all,
Yeah, we're a family, bro. I don't really talk down on my family, never.
and that's the best part. Heck, that's the best answer, anyways. Um, obviously you start at Seton Hall, you move on to Tulane, UAB now. How did you, in your mind, keep improving from year to year and jumping from college to college?
I just work on my game a lot. I live in the gym. I eat, sleep. I eat, sleep, breathe basketball. Like this is what I do. Like I'm always playing basketball. I'm always watching film when it comes to basketball. So like, I mean, I've always just worked hard my whole life, So, and I never was really the best on a team. So like, I've always had to work harder than the person who was the best in order to try to get to them or even be labeled as good as them. So, you know what I'm saying? I just always stayed in the gym and like my mom always told me like as long as you stay in the gym, like everything will work out for itself and that's just what I do.
I mean, you mentioned that you haven't been the best on a team, but I think it's clear that, right now you're the star of this UAB Blazers team. How did it come about? I mean, why now, your third college? Why do you think that it's stuck where your game just fits the best with the Blazers?
I mean, it all comes down to like Andy Kennedy, he just like allows me to be me and he doesn't try to change me. And like that's all I've ever needed. And I guess his system just fits mine perfectly. Like it fits my game and he lets me be me, you know what I'm saying? And he allows me to play through mistakes where at other schools I wasn't allowed to play through mistakes. So I guess that's basically what really why I feel in my opinion like it worked out at UAB because he just allowed me to play through mistakes.
And I mean, that's obviously a good quality as a coach. I feel like a name like Andy Kennedy doesn't get thrown around that often. You obviously hear about the big name coaches at the big name programs, but when you look at
Yeah,
his resume, I mean, there are little flaws about Andy Kennedy as a coach.
for
Uh,
sure.
Care to explain a little bit more about him? I mean, just how he's really taken over as the lead coach at UAB. I mean,
I mean, he's one of the best coaches in the country, and like his resume speaks for itself. You know, he's a winner. Like he's been a winner at every place he coached. You know, so but he just demands like greatness out of you. You know, and he doesn't allow you to settle for anything less. You know, like he doesn't. That's not what he does, and he never will. And he doesn't care who you are, doesn't care how good you are on the team, doesn't care if you're from the star player to like a guy who doesn't get any minutes. Like he's gonna get the best out of you. You know, and I feel like that's why his teams always like prosper, and that's why his teams constantly like win. You know, like I feel like that's why we win a lot. Definitely doesn't like just allow you to just go through the motions. Like he doesn't play that. But at the same time, like you could be real with him and like talk to him, you know what I'm saying, man to man, and he'll give you his honest opinion, and he doesn't care how you feel about it. But that's what I love about him because he's just always honest with me, you know. And sometimes does it hurt my feelings? Sometimes, like yeah, of course. Like when you hear stuff, as goes for anybody in life, when they tell you something and like you know what I'm saying? Of course, you might not like to hear it, but like it's something you need to hear. You know what I'm saying? And he doesn't just tell people what you want to hear. He tells you what you need to hear, and that's gonna benefit you and that's gonna make you better. So like, yeah, does it like mess me up sometimes? Absolutely, but like it always makes me better. So I never like am mad at him for it or like get upset about it. It's just like, all right, like I just got to be better than.
that's awesome. That's awesome. Hey, I'll toss to break in a second. I don't want to put you under the spot either here, but I mean, is there a moment, something that he said that really stuck out to you? You know, that you said, "Wow, like I've got to improve this," and we've seen the improvements over the years as well. So
Um, he just tells me I got to be one of one. Like if in order to make it, like I got to be one of one. Like I'm a little guard, and I'm not 6'5". You know what I'm saying? I'm not 6'2" even. Like he just says, in order for me to be special, I got to be one of one. And like I've stuck with that from day one with him, and that's why I work so hard on my game because I got to be one of one.
I won't say you're challenged height wise, but you know, you're definitely at the point guard position. You know, you get taller guards out there. That isn't you. I mean, you've definitely got to work to get your points. What's that like? I mean, what's it like getting to that point as a smaller guard to where you're averaging? I mean, as we record this podcast, 26 points a game this season.
Yeah, I mean, it just comes from my preparation and like the work I put in. You know, I work hard on my game, and yeah, is it difficult being a little guard playing against like in a game where height probably gives you an advantage in this game? You know, it's not like football to where you could be short and still be you know what I'm saying, great. You know, like but basketball like height definitely gives you an advantage, but at the end of the day, I work on my game enough, you know, and my like I say all the time, like my coaches do a good job of telling me like what to attack and how they're gonna guard me and what I should look for, you know. So I mean, and like back to me saying not to sound repetitive, but I just work on my game a lot. So the shots I make and you know what I'm saying, the way I score is just coming from the work.
Well, you obviously work on your game a lot. Obviously, you see you guys as a team last year really clicked. You make that NCAA tournament appearance. It's funny because you guys played in Pittsburgh. I was in Pittsburgh, caught the
Yeah.
first game before you guys. Unfortunately, didn't stay for the second game. But I mean, what was it kind of like experiencing the NCAA tournament? You're kind of your program's lead guy, and people are starting to understand who UAB is.
Making the tournament was the best time of my life. And like that's the biggest stage I've ever played on in my entire life. And I want nothing less for my last year of college. Like I have to get back there, and not just get back there, but like actually be like win some games in a tournament, you know. And it's not easy. It's not an easy task, and I don't want to just skip ahead because that's a long way from now, and we got to worry about the next game. You know what I'm saying, versus USF. But like that's my main goal. Was getting back to the tournament and actually doing something special in the tournament. But like just being there and experiencing that and having players on my team who probably never experienced that, who transferred here or like the young guys coming in who's never experienced. Like I really want them to experience that because that's the greatest feeling you can ever have as a college basketball player. I don't care about the accolades you get or like you winning certain awards or whatever. Like it's all cool, but making that NCAA tournament, that's the best feeling in the world. Hearing your name called on Selection Sunday in front of the whole world is amazing.
It's what every kid dreams of growing up. You look at your non-conference schedule, obviously, for a team like you guys, we understand not in a power conference. So while obviously, Conference USA has as many tests as the next conference, it's really that non-conference that people from the outside are going to look at and say how they perform in those games. You look at the game against South Carolina, you look at the game against West Virginia. I mean, those are some big time teams. Obviously, we see G.G. Jackson, one of the top freshmen, press Virginia. Looking down the road a little bit at those games, I mean, how are you kind of thinking about, okay, how these games can really set us up for March? Just like playing against a good team.
I'm gonna be honest, bro. Like I don't even be thinking that far ahead, and like that's one thing like AK like instills in us is to like worry about this game. Stop worrying about what happens next. Like even when we shoot free throws at the end of practice, he says one at a time. He doesn't say, "Oh, make all three or make both." It's one at a time, and that's just what we focus on. So I mean, yeah, I know we have some great tests that especially if we win, it can be really beneficial to our like I guess like March stuff, obviously. But at the end of the day, I'm not really focused on that, bro. I'm just focused on winning our next game, and then after that, winning that next game, and then after that, winning that next game. So I don't really think about that, and I'm not really the coach, so I don't really think about like strength of schedule and stuff like that. That's more like AK's job. I'm just here to perform and just play to the best of my abilities to help the team win.
That's funny for two reasons because one, I do bracketology, so I am thinking ahead. So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I got to put that out there. But my day job is I'm a sports reporter in Rochester, New York. I cover the Buffalo Bills. I hear athletes say this all the time where, we're not looking ahead at the next team. And I'm thinking, okay, that's just a cop out answer. I'm in the locker room a couple weeks ago. Dawson Knox, the Bills tight end. I mean, this is 2 days before game day, and he goes up to one of his teammates and he's like, "Hey man, who are we playing this weekend?" I'm like, "Wow, this is legit." So, you're telling the truth in this, and I totally respect that
Yeah,
grind
yeah,
because I know not every athlete is. Some of them are looking ahead. So,
yeah,
the
yeah,
fact that your head's on straight. Obviously moving past that though, from my perspective and people that are looking at this UAB team, there are expectations this season that you guys could make a run. Does coach ever address that you know, without getting ahead of himself? Does he ever kind of talk about how special this team is?
yeah. He says it every day. Let's keep this team and the players we have in this team can do something special. It can be one of the best teams like he's ever had. But that comes down to us. He's not on the court with us. You know what I'm saying? He can tell us what plays to run and he can tell us what to do. But at the end of the day, we're the ones on the court that have to play the right way. You know what I'm saying? So and it's up to us as the players to come together and mesh really well so that we become a great team. And I believe we can do something special because we have all the pieces in every single position. You can't look at one position of ours where it's like, oh, like that's a weak player or that's not a weak player. How would I say this? Maybe like, oh, that position is not as strong, but every position on our court is on the court that we have is a very like we have a player who's very good at that position, and that's 1 through 5. You know what I'm saying? And it's not just one person; it's we have 1 to 2 people behind them that are can do the same thing. So I think this team definitely could be special, and he preaches it all the time. But it's definitely up to us to put that into play.
Kind of giving that all into perspective then. I mean, how do you yourself keep focused? Maybe it doesn't seem like this, but it just seems like maybe there's more lights on UAB than there have been in past years. I mean, I don't know what the media coverage is like
Yeah,
there. But, is it tough sometimes, or do you not really care about that?
I don't care about it, bro. I mean, like not to say it like, oh, I don't appreciate it because I see it. Like I see people talk about me or talk about us or talk about other my other teammates and stuff like that. But I don't really focus on it, and that's something like I said, AK really like taught me, especially last year when I started to become like a household name, like before the NCAA tournament. Like he really like sat me down and he talked to me and he had to like tell me like you gotta block out the noise and you gotta just focus on you and this team, and just focus on winning and everything else is gonna take care of itself. So I don't really worry about like the outside noise because I know like there's a lot of eyes on us, and there's, what I'm saying, constantly every game, whether we play West Virginia or whether we play Presbyterian, what I'm saying? I get it completely, but at the end of the day, we just got to focus on us, especially like me, myself, being the leader of the team. I just got to focus on us and just making sure I lead the right way and making sure I'm playing the best of my ability and my teammates are playing the best of their ability so we can win.
Obviously, you mentioned the day by day approach, and I guess I'll kind of end on this. There still has to be that long term goal, though. I mean, what is the long term goal for you? I mean, are you instilled in your head like, hey, we want to make the Final Four? You mentioned you want to win tournament games. I mean,
I
what's your
mean,
long term goal?
my overall goal is to win a national championship. And it sounds big, but like, I mean, I've always been a big dreamer. Like I've always dreamed of being in this position and being a household name in college basketball. And if I would have told you that when I was 10 years old, you would look at me crazy, same way people probably looking at me crazy for saying I want to win the national championship. But I mean, I dream big, and I think the talent that we have is I think we're just as good as anybody in the country. It's all about how we play together, and we just got to continue to mesh with each other and continue to learn how to play with each other because we got a lot of new guys, and we just gotta learn how to continue to be a better team together, and just keep coming together more. But that's my overall goal. I mean, for my individual goals like that doesn't really mean nothing. Like making that tournament and making a run and possibly winning a national championship. That's my overall goal. Going out in my last year of college with a bang like that, like that's that's something that's never happened in UAB history. So that's what I want to be. I want to be a legend. Like I want to be someone where they talk about like that UAB team was one of the best teams ever in college, and that's my goal.
Hey, why stop short just the Final Four if you can go all the way, right? I mean, I appreciate that, and
Absolutely.
I appreciate you coming on as well, Jelly. I mean, before I go, though, I do got to say, I'm wearing this plain green T-shirt, whatever. You got like the coat of many colors on right here. Can you hook me up with one of those sweatshirts?
I mean, this Billionaire Boys Club. This ain't just like this. Not my merch. This is something else.
I feel you. I feel you. Hey, maybe one of these days I'll get there, right?
Hopefully, bro.
All right, man. Jelly, thanks for joining us today on CBB Review Courtside. And thank you guys all for listening. Make sure to tune in and let us know who and what you want to hear next.